Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if this is your first time here, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. Welcome to the first week of the Mystic Readathon reading vlog. This readathon that I'm participating in lasts throughout the month of September, so I plan on vlogging my reading for the next 4 weeks. So the first book that I decided to pick up in this readathon is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. I was trying to decide how I wanted to tackle this readathon because I know how many pages a day I need to read to actually hit every book on my readathon, and I am already behind by quite a bit. So I have decided that I'm also going to pick up one of my physical books and get started with that too. So if I'm not meshing with one, I can easily switch over. And the first physical book that I plan to read for this challenge is a community prompt pick. Yes, it is a community prompt pick. And it is Block Shot by Kennedy Ryan, and this is for the BIPOC author prompt, I'm pretty sure. So these are the first 2 books that I have queued up. I will just be taking you all with me throughout the week. A lot of stuff to happen. I am off today, and I think I already said that, I'm not sure. But I do have errands to run. I need to go to Target, I need to go to UPS, and I have a hair appointment because my hair needs to be done. Okay, until my next update. Okay friends, 2 updates in one day. I am leaving my hair appointment and I'm on my way to Target. I have gotten to maybe 30 or 32% in Home is Where the Bodies Are. I don't really know how I feel right now, mainly because I don't know what this qualifies as. Is it supposed to be a thriller? Is it supposed to be a murder mystery? I don't think it's supposed to be horror. That I feel confident in saying. I don't really know what point this book is trying to make, and because this is the first book for a readathon, and because the list that I have to get through is a mile long, a part of me is do I just reach the 50% mark, 51% mark, and get half the points for this book and then move on to something else, or do I try to make it to the end? Now, I can say that I'm moving fairly quickly through this book. It's multiple POV, and you're mainly following 3 siblings, and all of the siblings read sad and depressed in their own way. As of right now, I'm not having a very good time. I don't see this changing because anybody that I have talked to about this book has basically said that they stayed in it for the sibling banter and not for the plot. So with that being said, I don't have a hope that this is going to redeem itself. I think that I'm just gonna see how I feel at the 50% mark, and then after that decide if it's even worth it to continue on to the end, or if I should just go ahead and DNF and just count half the points. That's pretty much it. I think I am though going to put a message in the vampire chat on the Discord server and see who has read it, because I know that Neil has, and I've talked to her a couple times in sprints about her feelings of this book, and so I'll see if anybody else has to chime in, and I'm just going to consult my team. I am going to Target. I think I said that at the beginning of this update. There is a good chance that I'm going to walk out of there with books. We shall see. You will know. Okay, we're just gonna have a weird, crazy shadow on me. But I just came out of Target, and I just want to show you really quickly what I got. So my oldest has been asking for this book, If He Had Been With Me. I don't know anything about it. I should probably look up something about it to make sure that it's not anything like crazy. And then the other book that I got is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I saw it. It was for a relatively cheap price, and this is on my list of books to read for the readathon. So I went ahead and picked it up, and now I can take one more book off of my Kindle Unlimited borrows. So I'm about to go get dinner and then head home and get some reading done tonight. I don't know if you will see me again with another update. If not, you will probably see me in the morning when I'm on my way to work, or after I drop the kids off for school. And I'll give you an update on where I am with my reads and what I decide to do about Home Is Where the Bodies Are. It's been a day since my last reading update for this vlog, and I thought I should probably pop on and give one. I think when I left you all, I was trying to decide if I was going to continue reading Home Is Where the Bodies Are, or if I was just gonna get to that 50% mark and DNF so I could still get the points for Team Vampire. And I'm happy to report that I have reached 77% in this book. I'm having a better time than I was previously, but I'm still kind of having the same feelings. You have Beth, who is the older sibling, who feels like, you know, she's gotten the short end of the stick because she's had to take care of everybody. She has taken care of her drug addict sister. She's taken care of her mother. And like, you just see how miserable and like bitter she is. And then you have the middle child, Nicole, who is the middle child, like usually the black sheep of the family, who isn't, you know, who seems like she doesn't belong, just very quirky and different and just out there. And like, you do feel bad like reading about her addiction and like the thoughts in her head and how she feels about herself. But you also feel bad about everybody else around her. I don't know. It's very, it pulls on your heartstrings. And then you have Michael, who is the younger sibling, and the baby. And you can tell he's been treated like the baby. And it's almost like the younger sibling steps into a world that's already been established, like with the family, and like, you know, they're the last kid, so they're babied and taken care of and overly loved. So you see that dynamic play out throughout the sibling relationship. But what has been very interesting for me are the flashbacks of the mom's POV. I think what has kept me in this book is I want to see at the end like what the mom finds out, what she has done, because you kind of like have been told that she got certain affairs together before she passed away. So I'm hoping to find out at the end like what she found out and what she did with that information, and yeah, just how all of this is going to play out. But I have like an hour and 30 minutes left in the book, so I feel very confident that I'm going to finish that book today. I will also be back with an update once I make it to the end of this book. Friends, hopefully my dryer or wash machine is not too loud in the background, but I thought I would hop on and give a quick little update. The dreaded C word has reached our front door. My husband is sick, and yeah, it's just been a crazy last couple of days. But I just got everybody situated for the night. I got the house cleaned, so I'm like, let me do a reading update. I did finish Home is Where the Bodies Are, and I'm giving it 3 stars. Overall, I think the chapters with the mom and the like information with like really everything to do with the mother is what kept me locked into the story. I did not care too much for the siblings. I think it's just enough with the story to keep you like pulled in, but I didn't love it. It didn't have me like sucked into the story where I was just turning the pages. I felt like I was reading just to get to the end and find out what happened, but not necessarily because I was just like overly invested and couldn't put it down. I did not like, I liked the ending, like the wrap up of like what we were following, but I did not like the future ending, like the 3 years in the future. Was not a fan of that. But other than that, for my first Geneva Rose, I mean, I guess it was okay. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I ended up actually liking it more than I thought I would, and I got points for my team, so a win is a win. Right now, I am on Mystic Readathon reading sprints, and I'm about to start my next book, which is Block Shot by Miss Kennedy Ryan. This is book 2 in the Hoop series, so I'm gonna see how far I can get into this book tonight. I'm very excited. I'm actually super anxious because like I really loved book 1. I hope this does not get the book 2 slump. This satisfies the Black author prompt for the Mystic Readathon, and because it's a thick book, it will get me a bunch of points. So I'm gonna read this, and then I think when I hit 50% in this, I'm going to start Apprentice to the Villain as well, which covers the red cover prompt, I think. But I think it's gonna take me a few days to get 200 pages in. So I will give you updates as soon as I have them, because I have no idea what this is about. I just know it's a second chance romance about 2 people who I think dated in college or messed around in college or something, and then they're going to be pushed back into each other's lives in adulthood. So that's all I have for now. You'll get an update when I have one. It has been 5 days since my last update, and I still don't feel like I should be in front of a camera, but I could not let any more time pass without giving an update, without having to scrap this video, and we're not doing that. So the last time I did an update, I think I told the vlog that my husband had tested positive for COVID. 2 days later, I tested positive for COVID. So yeah, this has turned into a sickly vlog situation. But I have still managed to get the reading done. In my last update, I had just finished Home is Where the Bodies Are, and I think I gave my final thoughts wrap up with that, and I still kind of feel the same. Usually after letting the book sit for a couple of days, I have additional thoughts and feelings, but none where that book is concerned. It was where it is. Since that update, I have finished Pretty Rings and Broken Things, which was a book that I carried over from August. It does not count towards the readathon, unfortunately, because I was already past the 25% mark, but I think I ended up giving that book a 3.5 stars. It was book 2 in its series. I'm not even gonna lie and act like I know what the name of that series is, because I don't. I did enjoy the book. I really liked the characters in this one. The male main character was probably my favorite of the 2. There were some situations that kind of took me out of the story. I think like the whole like incident that caused our 2 main characters to be forced together probably took me out more than anything, just because my mind immediately thought, like, if this was the real world, there's no way this big bad person would have gotten away with this. And it also kind of like lingered with me in the back of my head, because I just kept thinking, like, is this situation going to come back up again? And it never did, which also makes me think, was this just put into the story so that we have a reason for our two characters to be together? It was not, it took me out, and I never really kind of recovered from that. But what I can say is, like, I liked the dynamic between the two characters. I liked watching them grow closer together. It had a nice like ending as far as to like the situation and what came up, and it was totally predictable. I felt that was coming. But like, after the resolution of their issue was solved, I feel like the book could have ended in a different way. I didn't like it wasn't even really an epilogue. It was just like a few months later and this is what was happening. I feel like we could have gone a different route with that. This book also had the same like type of reveal as the first book did, where the male main character reveals something about the past that the two characters share, but he was only aware of it. Now that I have gotten through the first two books in that series, I have come up on the book that I was actually recommended, which is the third book of this series. And I keep saying, like, I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but as soon as I have a period in time where I'm like, I don't know what I want to read, I just want something quick and light that I know I'm probably gonna like, that will probably be the book that I reach for, which is book 3 in the series. Don't know the name of it, not gonna look it up. You'll find out when I do. In my last update, I did say I was starting Block Shot, and I am a little over the halfway mark. I would probably say I'm about 60% through this, and I am loving it. I knew I would. Miss Kennedy Ryan has not done me wrong in this book. This follows Banner and Jared, and they are both sports agents, really big sports agents that are fantastic at their job. And they were friends once upon a time. Something happened that caused that friendship to come to a halt, and they have met up later in life, and one of them is trying to win the other over. And I can't say I'm enjoying this book, and I will say that it is not as traumatic as book 1 in this series is, but I feel like there's a lot of repetition, and I'm hoping that I don't get to the end of this book and wish that it would have been shorter. I really don't know. I have no idea where this book is gonna go, and I love that for me, like that I haven't figured out like what's gonna come up or like harm the two of these, not harm, but what's gonna affect the two of these characters. Because I'm at the 50% mark, we're at this time where you like expect the two people to be together, and I feel like they are leaning into that, but I just don't know where we're gonna go from here. Like, are we gonna have a third act breakup situation, or are we gonna have the two characters like fighting whatever issue comes up together? I don't know. There's a lot of open questions, but I am having a very good time. This one is much spicier than book 1, and I was very surprised by that. And I'm hoping to finish it within the next few days. That is my goal. I would love to finish it by tomorrow, but we shall see how much I get read tonight. I have also started my Dear Henry, and I will put a nice pretty cover up of this book. And this follows a character named, I think it's Gabriel, it may be Gabriel, who is going to school to be a doctor, like his father wants him to be, and he's going to school at one of the only places that will take Black students in the institution. He's staying at a boarding home, and within this boarding home he has met someone named Henry, and we're just following, I guess, their friendship, or like what is gonna happen between these two throughout the story. I haven't got very far in it. I think I'm only like 15%, so I don't have a lot to say about it, but I am anxious to see where it's gonna go. It is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde retelling, so it should be quite interesting. And when I started reading this, I figured out very quickly that this book is actually going to satisfy 3 prompts. The first prompt is a book written by a Black author, a Black or Indigenous main character, and LGBTQ plus representation. So that's 60 points right there, which is exciting. But it is fairly short. I think it's only like 260 pages. So I have faith that I will get through this book this week. But that is my update for now. Hopefully the next time you see me, I will not look like this. I will look a little more put together and lively. And yeah, when I have another update, you will be the first to know. Friends, is it a new day? Yes, it is. Do I look like I did yesterday? Yes, I do. I'm sick. Mind your business. Let's get into the book talk. Okay, so first things first. Most important news. I finished Blockshot yesterday, and when I tell you I rotted on my couch from the time that I got off of work until almost 10 o'clock at night and just flew through the end of this book, that is what I did. This was everything that I could have hoped for and more. When I did my update yesterday, I pretty much feel like I did not know where this book was going, because I felt like our couple was getting comfortable, and I'm like, Miss Kennedy, what are you going to do? A situation happened, and I was literally like, if you're gonna make these two like have to go through something, this is it. This is what I came for. Kennedy Ryan, sweetie, your writing is everything. This was so good. So good. We're 2 for 2 with this series. This is my 3rd Kennedy Ryan, and she is making her way onto the auto-buy author list. Like, I cannot wait to read more work from her. I'm super excited for Hookshot, which is the next book in this series. I have to get out of this readathon before I can figure out where to fit that in. But I want to make plans to finish that book before the end of the year, because I need to finish this series and just solidify it as one of my all-time favorite series, because every single book, bangers, okay? Next, I did read a little bit more into My Dear Henry, and I think I know kind of what's going on. I'm almost to 20%, so I didn't get too far into it, but I'm making a prediction here. I'm not 100% sure. I really hope that trash truck is not as loud as I think it is. Like, I think they're leaving. Are you leaving? But I think I know like what is going on here. So Henry is Gabriel's, the main male character, is like, they kind of like have this relationship going on, but obviously it's 1883 and like that is frowned upon. And Henry's dad is one of their professors, but I think his dad is like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde character. That is the prediction that I'm making right now. I'm going to be honest. I was a little worried going into this book because I read at the last minute that it was like a gothic situation, and also it's historical, but it's not reading like ye olden days. So I am hopeful that maybe tonight, once I have a good stretch of time to just really sink into it, that I will get farther in this book, because I am very interested in what's going on. I am going to be starting from Blood and Ash. I've given myself the task of reading, I think it is 52 pages a day for the next 12 days starting today. So this book will probably appear in multiple vlogs, but I just kind of wanted to break this out because it's a reread for me, and I know that I have a good ways to go in this series. I am going to be starting this today. I'll probably only read like the allotted chapters that I have set out for myself, because I forgot how long these chapters are. I think chapter 1 is like 30 pages. 30 pages. And then the last update that I do not remember if I put it in another clip or not, but I am going to be reading A Dowry of Blood next. This is going to be like the next readathon read. So I don't really know when I'm going to start this. I don't think it's going to be today. It will probably be tomorrow. So that's where we are. When I have an update, you all will have one. There's a lot going on. There's many books being juggled. But I feel pretty good finishing Blockshot and submitting that book as finished. I feel good about the amount of points that I've gotten my team. I will feel even better once I finish My Dear Henry, because I'll get the points for the book length, but also 60 extra points because it covers 3 other prompts. And then I really need to make sure I get through this book, because this will be a vampire prompt and a community prompt for the faction leader. Ooh. And plus the page length. So that is my focus for this week. All right, that is all. That is my updates. When I have more, you will hear from me. Party people, we are back. Am I alive? Yes. Am I thriving? Debatable. Because I've gotten sick, I've decided that I am going to break up the readathon vlog into 2 parts. So we'll have one vlog that covers 2 weeks, and then another vlog that covers another 2 weeks. And hopefully that vlog will be more entertaining than these sickly ones. But I do have reading updates. In the Mystic Readathon, Team Vampire was able to pick a card. I'm not even going to go into explaining that to you, but basically it told us our standing in this entire situation. And I'm not going to say where our standing was, but it was not first. And in the great words of Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. So my brain got to thinking, what do we need to do to help support our team? So I have put a plan into place. The first thing I did was this morning, I listened to a short audiobook. As soon as I woke up this morning, I put that on and I listened to it while I got the girls to school, on the way home. And then like for the first hour of work today, I listened to that book and I got through it. And so I was able to log that for our round prompt. And it was by a Black author, and it was about a Black main character. So I got a little bit of points off of that, just, you know, trying to build some momentum. And that book was Barracoon. I'll put a picture of it here. It is by Zora Neale Hurston, and it follows the storytelling of a man who was the last survivor of the last Black cargo, I believe that's what it was called, or the last cargo. Basically, he was on one of the last slave ships from Africa to America, and Zora Neale Hurston interviewed him basically to learn about his life, like what was his life like in Africa before he came here, and what his life was like after he got here. And I don't think I have to say this, but this was a very sad story, but it was a very interesting like insight into the life of a slave. And it immediately caught my attention previously when I owned the physical book, because I was intrigued by what would be talked about in the story. But this particular man's story was kind of wrought with sadness. Like, you know, after, of course, you know, you're sold into slavery by people who look like you in your country, and you come to America and you're treated like a slave, but then he lives through like the slaves being freed. And then like he talks about his life after slavery and like his family that he, you know, had here, and like what goes on with his family. I don't want to give spoilers away just in case anybody wants to read it, because it's super short. But like the fact that even like in her storytelling, he doesn't seem like down with life as far as like everything that he's been through. It seems like he's kind of just still been grateful that he's here and that he's free, and that even though he wants to go back to his home country, like he has had a life, he has loved, he has had children, and just different things like that. So it was very interesting to listen to this morning, and I would highly recommend it. So yeah, that book I finished this morning. I went ahead and got it logged. I think that book would have gotten me a little over 300 points for the team. So I was very excited about that, and I was like, what are some quick wins, okay? Yesterday, read more of My Dear Henry. I don't think that like what I said earlier was necessarily wrong. We are following this Gabriel character and his relationship with Henry, a relationship that has started off as a friendship, and they both wanted it to be more. But again, during this time in 1883, like that was not something that was even remotely okay. And it was very much like the people who saw the want for these two men to want to be together, like advised them against it, and like told them like, this is not what you want to do because you will ruin your life, basically. I did make it to 35% last night during some reading sprints, so I'm very curious of like what is going to happen, and like how the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story is going to be talked about. I will be the first to say I have not read the original story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I know enough to know kind of like what to look for or what is, you know, coming up. And like some strange things have already started to happen. The boys have been separated because of a situation that went on at this institute that they were attending, and our main character Gabriel has been put in a very like precarious situation. I am having a good time. I'm hopeful that I'm going to finish this book and the next book that I'm talking about this week and help propel points towards Team Vampire. And I'm curious if we're going to get into a horror element, because I always thought Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde leaned more toward a scarier like genre, because right now I don't really know what to think about. Like, I don't know what to think this is, and maybe I could look it up on Goodreads to see what it's qualified as, but we shall see. I hadn't wanted to look up anything and like spoil myself on it. So yes, My Dear Henry, enjoying this. Definitely see myself getting this finished sooner rather than later. I know I had talked previously in another update that the next book that I was going to read is A Dowry in Blood, and I have started that. I also started this during the reading sprint last night, and I am 52 pages into this, and this is a short read. It's only 292 pages, so as fast as I was reading it last night, I have no doubt that I will get through this fairly quickly. The story is being told from the POV of Constanza, from the moment that she has been turned to the end of, I'm just going to say her relationship, I'm pretty sure, with Dracula. It reads very quickly. It's just almost like journal entries, and it's not like conscious stream of thought. It is retelling a story from the moment that she meets and like walking through their life together, and it is very fast paced. I think, you know, even at 52 pages, I think we're already decades or centuries decades or centuries into their time together, and it is still just them. But I have also heard in like other reviews or like talk of this book that Dracula does take other brides, so she is still currently the only bride in this book. I am very intrigued. I again was wary going into this because I thought that this was going to be more leaning like gothic, but the sprint that I was on last night, one of the hosts said that it's more vampiric, obviously, because it's Dracula. But she also told me that this was smutty. I'm actually very excited to continue reading this, and this will probably be the read that I do during my lunch break today, just to see how far I can get in 60 minutes, because I got pretty far last night. But I feel hopeful about this book. And as of right now, I know this book covers the red cover. I know this is just under the dust jacket. The dust jacket is red. Vampires, a faction and a faction leader's favorite pick. And then reading a book from my faction leader. So I'm hitting like 4 different prompts on this one book. So I should get like 400 points from this, which is what we need. I just want to go on record and say I am extremely excited to be back in this world. I am taking it very slow because I plan to annotate, and I am buddy reading this with my bestie Kathleen. And I was telling her yesterday after I read on my lunch, like, I'm excited to be back in this world, and I'm already picking up on stuff that I know will come back up later on in the series. And it made me think, like, were we wrong as a people to fault Jennifer L. Armentrout for making this series longer than it was initially supposed to be? Or did she really need the extra books to tell the story that is being unraveled? Just because of the breadcrumbs that I pick up in the first 2 chapters, and I'm like, we're gonna see this again. We're gonna see this again. And like, while I know you can wrap it up pretty quickly, and I'm not gonna say, like, book 2, we all know what book 2 does. And we probably could have sped things up there. But it just makes me curious as, like, if the story took over and led Jennifer to writing more books in the series to make the world feel bigger, brighter, make it all come together. That is my update for now. I'm going to end it. So I will see you all in my next update. Hi friends, and welcome to the end of this video. It has been a couple days since my last update. A couple of things. I have officially tested negative for COVID, so she's out of our system, and on to bigger and better things. I did finish my Dear Henry. I absolutely loved it. I think I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. It was very good. It was very intriguing for it to be that gothic style. It did keep my attention. It had nice LGBTQ representation, and just very much you are enough as you are. It was a very quick read, and I ended up getting the audiobook halfway through it, and it was done very well. So if your library has it, I think it would be a very nice listen to tune into. But I really enjoyed it, and I was so happy that I picked it up. It had been on my Kindle for a while, and I'd been looking at it, but I'm glad that I read it, and I had such a good time with it. I also yesterday finished A Dowry in Blood, and let me just tell you all, I absolutely adored this book. From the moment that I picked this book up, I was flying through the pages. I got through 52 pages in 30 minutes because it was that good. The pacing of this story, chef's kiss. This book follows Dracula and his wife Constanza, and basically from the point that he finds her until they decide to no longer be together. And not only do you follow Constanza as his bride, but he puts it up on himself to bring other people into their relationship. And so you see the bond of all of these people together and dealing with the life of a vampire and what it entails, and really just dealing with being a significant other of Dracula. And I thought it was just a very different story, and I thought it was told very well. I also got the audiobook of this about halfway through so that I was able to continue listening while I was working, and the audiobook is so good. It was fantastic listening to. All around, 5 stars, no notes. Now, my edition, which is the Fairy Loot edition of this book, had a little novella in the back that follows one of Dracula's other counterparts, and you get to hear his POV of things after the story, and it was fantastic. I did look it up on Goodreads, and it is available as a novella, and the novella is called... So the novella is called An Encore of Roses, and it was just a nice little wrap up, a nice little extra piece that was added on to this story. But yes, we start this book in like the 1800s, and I think it comes to like the 60s, maybe. Don't hold me to that, but just the expression of power and learning to believe in yourself and learning that you deserve more and learning that nobody else can control you and what you want and how you want to live your life was just magnificent. I cannot wait to read this book again. I would probably give some time just so I can let it sit, but I definitely see myself revisiting this story in a few falls from now. Currently right now I am only reading From Blood and Ash, and again I'm only taking that like 50 pages a day. That is my goal at the moment. It'll definitely be finished in the next vlog. So if you made it to the end of this video, please leave me a blood drop emoji for a dowry of blood. If you like this video, give it a like. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books that I had featured in the video this week, and if you're not already subscribed, please make sure you do so you don't miss any uploads in the future. And if you like the content that you have been seeing here, make sure you share my channel with all your friends and families and subscribers so that other people can find me, and I will see you all in the next one.